Good evening. I'm here to present the utility development agreement with Triple B Ranch and Farm LLC for the development that consists of 3,483 single-family units, multifamily, and commercial improvements on approximately 609 acres. The property is located within the town of Franklinton zoning jurisdiction, along with a separate development agreement among the town and the developer. The agreement sets forth milestones for the overall development with regard to the county's obligation to provide water and sewer, in addition to supporting infrastructure. Failure to pay and perform under this agreement will result in the termination of the agreement should milestones not be met. The public benefit for this project will be the construction of the southern bypass, dedication of a 3-acre site for future public safety facilities, in addition to funds for off-site water and sewer improvements. Other benefits include substantial off-site improvements, accelerated payment of system development fees, and contributions towards the cost of a water model for an elevated storage tank. The development will also be required to pay all applicable fees, including system development fees, which are utilized to support infrastructure expansion. I will now introduce Karen Kemerant, representing Triple B.
Good evening, Chair Bragg, and is this on? Okay. Good evening, Chair Bragg and members of the board. My name is Karen Kimmerite, and I'm an attorney with the law firm of Fox Rothschild in Raleigh, and I'm here on behalf of Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So I'm here on behalf of Triple B Ranch and Farm LLC and the owners of Triple B, which are the Boyd family. And what I'd like to do is take just a few minutes to talk about the Triple B mixed-use development, the utility development agreement, and the benefits that the Triple B project will provide to the town of Franklinton and to the county. And so the Boyd family and their planning team have been working on plans for the Triple B mixed-use development for a number of years now. And the project, I believe, will provide tremendous benefits to both the county and also to the town. It will be the vision for the project and the development is it'll be a place for people to live, to work, to shop, to eat and dine, and to just spend time in the town and in the county. And the Triple B project and the Boyd family are excited about being able to move forward with construction of the project. And construction is expected to begin in the latter half of 2027. And so what I'd like to start with is providing some information about the project. So previously, Triple B and the town executed a development agreement that included a master development plan, and that was executed on April 15th of 2025. And both the development agreement and the master development plan were recorded with the county after the execution of the agreement. And so about Triple B, okay, here we go. So I have a few slides to go through, and I hope you can see the master plan well enough, but the Triple B development is located within the jurisdiction of the town and the town's planned jurisdiction. And as was previously stated, the total acreage for the project is 609 acres. And for orientation, you can see that Cedar Creek Road runs through the property from the north to the south. And then I think really importantly for the project, you can see that at the southern portion running from the east to the northwest is the proposed Franklinton, North Carolina Southern Bypass. And what's been planned for the project is it's going to be a mixed-use development, and the mixed uses are going to include a mixed-use component, a residential component, an industrial, office, and research component, and also a commercial area of the project. And so you can I want to just walk you through where those areas of the project are. And if you notice in the orange area, that will be the mixed use portion of the property. And the orange area is located east of Cedar Creek Road. And the mixed use portion will be about 24 acres, and it will have about 480 units developed on the project. And then if you look to the purple area of the master plan, that will be the residential areas of the project. And the residential areas will have about 500 acres. And on those 500 acres, it's planned that there will be about 3,000 residential units. And then the yellow portion of the project, and that's located to the west of Cedar Creek Road, and that will be the industrial office research and development component of the project. And that will be 50 acres of the project. And if I'm moving too quickly, if you want me to slow down to describe better where the locations are, I can do so.
You're good.
You're good.
Okay. And then the green area on the project is located both to the east and west of Cedar Creek Road. And that is where the commercial and retail area of the project is going to be located. And that area is 53 acres. And then the red area that you'll notice, and that is west of Cedar Creek Road toward the northern portion of the property. That is the area that Triple B will be donating to the town for a park. And on the park, there's already a pond that's located and a historic manor house. So the vision for the park that'll be part of the town is it will feature the historic home, the pond, walking trails, a playground, and other amenities that will be attractive to residents of the county and the town. And then another vision for the park is that it can be used for festivals, movie nights on the lawn, and concerts and things like that. And so the project and the development is also going to be developed to be pedestrian friendly. There will be significant connectivity throughout the project. There'll be trails, walking paths, sidewalks, and crosswalks. And as I mentioned before, construction is planned to begin, assuming that the UDA is approved this evening. But assuming that happens, construction is expected to begin in 2027. And then construction will be completed within 15 years. So now that I've gotten the slides working again, the UDA is a really important step for Triple B to be successful and so that it can begin construction. What the Triple B does at a very elementary level that I'm sure the board well understands, but it will allocate water and wastewater capacity. And that in exchange for doing so, Triple B is going to be making some significant commitments to the county. And what the UDA states, it has a number of provisions, but I'm just going to highlight a few of those provisions. First, the term of the UDA is going to be 15 years. So in other words, the project needs to be constructed within 15 years. The UDA also provides an allocation of both water and wastewater capacity. The county will allocate 4,079,100 gallons per day of water and the same amount for wastewater, and that is provided in section 2.1 of the UDA. The UDA also provides for benefits and commitments from Triple B to the county, and Triple B is required to donate 3 acres to the county for the site for the EMS station and the fire station, and that is located luckily I did not have trouble with the slides this time, but that is located, shown on the master plan in the light blue that is at the very south portion of the green area, which is the commercial and retail area. And so that area will be donated by Triple B to the county. There also are significant commitments that Triple B is making in regard to the southern bypass. And what the UDA states is that it reaffirms commitments that Triple B has made to the town in the development agreement. And the town has stated in the development agreement, Triple B has stated in the development agreement that it will pay for the cost to design and construct 2 lanes and 1 sidewalk of the southern bypass that adjoins the Triple B property. And then additionally, the UDA provides that Triple B will pay to the county all required system development fees. So now I want to move on to the benefits that the project will bring to both the county and to the town. And this is a slide that may be difficult to see in detail, so I will go over some of the more important benefits. So the Triple B development is expected to bring new residents to the county and create about 5,200 new jobs. The total community contributions from the project will be over $36 million. So in regard to those community benefits, first about the southern bypass, Triple B has agreed to donate 7,910 linear feet or 19.61 acres for the southern bypass. And the financial benefits of that, the construction costs that will be provided will be about $1.9 million. And then the land donation from Triple B will be in excess of that, $1.961 million. And then the 3 acres that I mentioned previously for the EMS and fire station that will be donated to the county, the value of that land donation will be $3 million. And then additionally, the park that I mentioned, 30 acres that Triple B will be donating to the town. The land donation for the 30 acres is about $3 million. Additionally, the historic manor home donation is about $750,000. And then in regard to the tax base will be significant. The annual tax base for the residential portion of the property will be about $6.6 million. The annual tax base for the industrial portion of the property will be about $376,000. And the annual tax base for the commercial portion of the property will be about $328,000. So again, the total community contributions will be well over $36 million. So with that, I appreciate you, your patience in listening to the presentation, and we would respectfully ask that the UDA be approved. We'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have as well.
Can you go back to that original map? Yeah, there you go. I've got one question. On that 3 acres that you're going to donate to the county for EMS and public safety, you said it's going to be worth how much?
$3 million.
$3 million.
Correct.
Are you going to build the buildings there too, pro bono?
No, what has been agreed to in the UDA is that we will contribute the land and therefore the value of the land, and then the county will build the EMS and fire station.
At the county's expense to do the buildings.
Correct.
So how do you get 3 acres worth $1 million?
That is the estimate of what the cost, the value of the property is.
Okay. Cool.
But-
Go to your next
But
slide.
anyway.
Go to your next slide. It answers the question. One more,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah,
It's right there somewhere. Total acres which will be donated to proposed Triple B bypass. Sorry, let me find it. Got it in here.
It's number
Oh,
3.
water
I
tower
apologize.
contribution as
I
well.
misstated. It is the total contribution
Yep.
for the land and other utility infrastructure. So my apologies for overstating that.
Is the water tower going to be on the same 3-acre site that you're referencing, or is that in a
It
different
will
area?
be most likely in a different location where it's needed by the county.
Can you put the map back up for us, please? 'Cause I think that's
Yeah.
valuable if further questions. While we're asking about this 3 acres, when is it proposed for that bypass to be in place? Because what I'm looking at is what is the fees? When are we going to be able to actually put a facility there as far as the road infrastructure being in place? And I know that it looks like that's about the point where Hicks Road will be modified according to this plan.
So, so Paul Luck may be able to better answer this than I, but I will tell you to the best of my knowledge about this. But so the Cedar Creek Road, the improvements to Cedar Creek Road will be constructed first, And I think that that was one of the reasons why the location was important. It was close to Cedar Creek Road. It was also close to the southern bypass, so it had benefits due to its location. Paul, if I've missed anything?
The location of the 3 acres is positioned right off of Hicks, so the accessibility will be there from day one. And then it will be further accessible once that portion of the bypass and eventually the entire bypass is built, so that EMS, fire and rescue can get up on the bypass and go in either direction. But it will be right there at the corner of what will be the intersection of Hicks and the southern bypass.
Yes, sir, I can appreciate that, but my question more specifically is that I agree with everything you just said if we built it today. But at some point in time, that road, according to this diagram, is going to be moved more westerly and created a curve in it. You see that? The red and white dotted line? I'm assuming that's a road. Runs right past the EMS station where Hicks Road is in
Yeah.
gray.
That's the bypass.
The bypass is black lines, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so follow me and go north at that intersection where it goes white, red, continues on up. Here, let me help you this way.
Okay.
This is fire and EMS. This is the dotted line I'm referring to. If you look carefully, you'll see a light green line running here. It turns purple. If I'm not mistaken, this is the current Hicks Road.
Right.
Correct. So my question is at what point in time is this going to be usable? Because my understanding is that this area is going to be what's going to be built first, about 600 houses.
Correct.
So I'm just curious, when is this going to occur? Or when is this going to occur? It's going to give me access here. And when A, and B, if this occurs before this occurs, what's the timeline for this? Because we don't want to put something here that we can't, that we're now locked down because this isn't here. The bypass that's proposed is not present, but this road all of a sudden becomes shut down to Franklinton, and these resources can't go that way because this road is not shut down and they have no corridor north at all. I'm just curious what the timelines may be here as far as what that looks
Again,
like.
the thought is that if it needed to be built right away, it could be accessed by Hicks.
Correct.
With the spine roads coming in later as the development's being phased in.
Mhm.
So there's no set timetable as to when that exactly those spine roads will be in. That'll be determined by market conditions and the phasing and so forth. Eventually, the spine roads will be in, the bypass will be in, so there'll be accessibility in many different directions. But
Right.
And the other thought is that, you know, if it needs to be in right away, it can be put in, installed right away. But the thought is, you know, it's going to essentially, you know, follow the path of development. So as the rooftops get built and the phasing comes in, then there's going to be more of an increased demand for that facility to be built. But it could be that, hey, we need it now because we don't have anything on that side of town, so that we could accelerate that. So if it needs to be accelerated, it does have water, it does have sewer, you know, so it does have infrastructure. Now, will that infrastructure change? Probably. For the better.
For the better.
Enhance,
Improve.
right. Improve.
Okay, thank you.
What is the plan? I know you're dedicating 30 or 32 acres to park dedication, and then it also says the historic manor house. Is the historic manor house in y'all's communication with, I'm assuming, the town of Franklinton, is that going to be preserved? Is the house itself going to be preserved?
We're donating the manor home.
Okay.
I mean, there is no preservation set aside for that right
Okay.
at this time. I mean, that may be a group effort, a community effort. You know, there may be some grants that could be applied for since it is historic. But that would be donated, you know, almost immediately upon the start of construction up in that area.
So that curtilage area of the current home, if I can use that context of the term, that is part of the red that's being donated to,
Yes.
okay.
And I was looking at the map because it just looked like the phase, that little 5 acres was really close to the manor house. And I just want to make, Commissioner Bragg, I know you've spoken with the town of Franklinton. Are they
I
planning
believe
on?
they are planning to preserve the
Okay.
house and use it as some type of community center
Okay,
or some
good.
type of event center
Yep,
at
yep.
the house and do the park.
Good, okay.
Yes.
And
I
we would have buffering between that 5 acre mixed use and the manor home.
Okay, okay,
And then of course, from the manor home to the lake is kind of like a view shed corridor.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where you could have your, your amphitheater, your concerts on the lawn, those kind of activities.
I really would like that house preserved. It is very special.
As
As would you? Yeah.
as the people from Franklinton would be.
Okay, good. I was gonna say.
Family.
Yeah,
Harris
and
family,
the
Yeah.
Harris
original,
family,
That's right.
yes,
original
That's right.
yes.
occupants of
I
that.
believe so.
It is very.
My wife might kill me if that house comes down. So no.
Right.
Thank you.
I think we all want it preserved. Are there any other questions from the commissioners before we open the public hearing?
I do have one final question because I think this is a critical point for us to understand. Because a lot of this project and this opportunity tonight is based on the development or the creation of this bypass that you're speaking of. What is the timeline for this to occur? I know a prior development we did with this was the bypass piece was critical to the coming and going and creating the very first phases where this community is this property is kind of nestled equally kind of on the east and west side of Cedar Creek Road. So what are the thoughts or intentions there?
Well, right now, if you look at the bypass as it exists for the Triple B, for that property, it's a bypass that goes to nowhere. Like,
On
it
either
does
end.
not connect.
Correct.
So the discussions have been, and this is going to be heavily influenced by NCDOT's desires. Our desires are to have the first leg or the first third connect from while we're building, let's just say, between phase 5B, 5C, 5A, and 5E to where it hits that spine road that you were just mentioning right there at the EMS.
The commercial side, is that what you're referring to? Because it's hard to see it here. I think the purple on
So
the,
it's
the
right.
left
So
is,
if you go from the intersection where the EMS campus is and you go
Yeah.
west,
yeah, I see it.
Okay.
right there,
5E.
we anticipate that would be the first phase built, so that at that point, it would probably be, between the county, probably NCDOT, where they would do an underpass under the railroad, under the CSX line, to then get out to US 1. And we like that for, just for the direction and bringing in folks to the community right directly off of Route 1. We felt like that probably has the most impact for the town as well, is to get out to Route 1 first. And then we would build the second leg that would then bifurcate through the commercial, what we call the four corners.
Sure.
And then the third leg would then go out to the area where we're talking active adult on the south side, the purple, and the continuation of residential on phases 9 and 10. Because I think by that time, if it's connected over to the west on US 1, then that will give NCDOT time to figure out what's to be done on the far end on the east side.
I do know that the town of Franklinton is working
Anything to add to that?
with plans on developing the ends of the bypass on either end out to the major road. So I do know that they are working currently with that and have some good plans in place for that.
And that was one of the reasons where that we felt like that was a good spot for the EMS campus, because when it's all said and done, fire and rescue, emergency management, they can go in either direction on the bypass and get to, just beyond Triple B. I mean, this is a benefit for, the county, the town, and they can go in a multiple directions from that location.
Okay. Any other questions from our commissioners? If not, we will open our public hearing.
Just need
And-
to vote to open the public hearing.
Okay, and do I hear a motion to open our public hearing?
So move.
And second. We have a motion and a second. All approve, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, we're opening the floor for our public hearing. Do we have anyone out here that is wishing to speak on this in our audience?
One hearing, right?
If you'll come forward and give your name and address, please.
Lars Kapner, 106 North Pastures Trail in Franklinton. And I know many of you already, so it's nice to see you guys. And I drive by this quite often, and it looks like a great plan that we're doing here. I just wanted to bring up a few concerns about how we develop in this county that I've observed over the years. And being the fact that if anybody goes through Youngsville right now during rush hour, as you know, Commissioner Davis, it's a nightmare from the traffic. So I'm just a little concerned with how we plan these other infrastructure things that are going to have impacts, because clearly Youngsville is behind on that. And I have to go through Franklinton now, and I would sure hate to have the same issue in Franklinton. And even with the Youngsville bypass, I know that there is a problem getting across the railroad tracks right now. So and there's tens of millions of dollars. I'm not sure if you know more of those details, but that kind of negates the benefits of a bypass if you can't get to capital from that standpoint. So I just want to make sure that we are very much considering the full plan and not just go to the railroad tracks and stop and have it be something that, of course, the developer is going to do these great things, but we need to make sure we're getting it to where it's going to be effective for the community to exit. So I'm not sure. I've been living here for almost 5 years, and I see a lot of development, but I see the infrastructure being lagging behind. So I'd love for something like this to make sure we get ahead of it from a traffic standpoint. And then you can clearly, I haven't done the math on what the impact of schools is, but I assume you've done an assessment on the impact on the schools for this. So I don't know if you know that information yet, or if that's in the materials, but that gets me to the fact that who's funding that, and if you think about, are new schools going to need to be built, and is that something that the new houses in the subdivision are going to fund, or is that going to go to the broader tax base to fund those things? Because there are other options to where you can put on a 20-year bond to build a school, as an example, to those new developments versus have the entire tax base pay for those expansions. So I'm not sure if you thought of any of those things yet as well, but I don't think anybody that's current residents wants to have their tax bill go up to support the building of new schools or the building of other infrastructure to support this. So I don't know if we're open to questions, or you want me to just keep commenting? Because those are a couple questions I've asked here, and I don't know if we have answers to those. Or...
So I can just give you one quick right off the cuff here, basically on some simple math. Roughly 3,000 homes would generate about $6.6 million in revenue a year to the county. Building a school is about $50 million. So I would have to say that it's likely that there's revenues, just the beginning of them would start to support something like that.
Okay.
And I mean, I'll speak to a little bit of the infrastructure, and obviously, I'm just outside of Youngsville and have to traverse it and all that. I think you're right. We end up with bypasses that butt up against something. The way that at least I looked at the Rolling Meadows is that inner bypass was crucial. And yes, while we do have a real problem when we get to the railroad systems, that is also something that, like the municipalities, Scott Brame and his team and Will Dofor down in Youngsville are working day in and day out, especially with Campo and DOT, trying to find it. There's a money problem there, obviously. I think some of this was thrown in with the light rail and some of the changes that were made. So I think you have a legitimate point. There are some questions that are going to take some time to get through. Obviously, it's like I remember saying at one of my first commissioners meetings when Rolling Meadows was approved that we're going to probably inflict some short pain with this development agreement in Rolling Meadows, hopefully to get the long-term goal. So that may not be the greatest answer for you, but that was the one thing is that, and those guys are working day in and day out, obviously, and I'm on Campo board too. So there's progress being made. It's just slow.
Yeah, and I think my point here is we need to be ahead of it, not behind it.
Sure.
Because otherwise, once this goes in, I won't be able to leave my property pretty soon.
The other thing that I'd also add to that is in the Rolling Meadows experience, DOT and Campo were much more receptive to this piece of it already being done. It kind of elevated the status of the whole overall need and got on their radar screen in a way that they began to give a little bit of support. And I think that will help us get and garner a little bit more support when it comes to this bypass as well, being that we're getting a significant piece of it.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. And just so you know, because you may or may not, but I believe, and Ryan, you may be able to speak to this a little bit, but as well. But I think the two major projects that DOT allowed us to leave up as high priority was Rolling Meadows bypass, and I think the additional 4 lanes of 401 out to Lewisburg, I believe, if I'm right. Somebody can. So to Commissioner Shriver's point, like the bypass around Youngsville, being able to have that Rolling Meadows, that mile and a half that was going to get completed under this, allowed us to keep finishing it out at DOT's priority level. And I don't know that it would have stayed up there if we hadn't got it. So, but I understand. I totally understand your point.
And like I said, I'm not against the development. I just want to make sure we do it responsibly and we're thinking through all of these consequences from that standpoint.
Let me, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and I would conclude and hope that by the answers you just heard here, that it comforts you in the fact that, yes, we are thinking long-term, and yes, we are engaged, and yes, we are making some provisions for the future. And while you may not see them or hear about them, I assure you behind the scenes, there is a lot of pencils being scratched and a lot of paper being used.
I know I've talked to Commissioner Bragg about this before on other things. So,
all right. Let me say that the town of Franklinton and Franklin County has been working with this development for 2 years or longer. I'm looking at Zach because we worked real close together on this development. And we have carefully penciled out and planned this development so it will be, everything is considered, we hope, everything that we can think of in it. We have looked at all the infrastructure that it's going to bring and talked about, I promise you, we've talked about everything we can think of that would come up over the past 2 years. So this just didn't happen last week. This has been going on for quite a while, that we have been back and forth between the attorneys and the town and the county. We've all worked close in hand with this development, so we hope we're doing it right.
No, I appreciate that, and I think so. We talk about other impacts. Maybe we can talk about water now, because that's another critical one. Obviously, that's a big deal in our county. And obviously we'll have a water tower, but do we have a source of the water supplied for this?
Yes.
Is that still Kerr Lake or?
We have a combination of several water that we purchase water from around the county, around the outsides of the county.
Okay. So I can also, just an observation is we have a creek behind our house, and with more and more development, it's getting less and less. And that's just a natural observation. So think about how, obviously, the engineers will look at groundwater issues and so forth. But I know that across Capitol at the Stone Yard, whatever that is, the quarry, there's concerns about water impact that are real. I mean, I'm an engineer and I know about water. that can impact the pH and other things. But I don't see this being that issue, except just that we have a good supply of water to support this type of growth, because the cost of water is significantly higher than other communities in Franklin County. So, and I know Winslow's working on some of those things as well. But and the only other question I have is on the industrial piece of this. It didn't specify just industrial. So do you have it laid out as any types of industrial? Do I interpret that we can put a refinery there, or is it just research center, or light industrial? Is that something that's in the zoning? Yeah, Zach.
This limitation between the list of approved types of manufacturing area would be what's allowed, and also what's.
Okay. Do you have any idea of what level of industrial it is?
So there's been talk of potentially more focus on the project. That I think it's the account press
Yep.
interest in the site. So I hope that if we go in the direction of clean industry, biotech, something that really positive.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful to hear. Obviously, I don't think anybody wants a new refinery or steel mill coming into our area, but just want to make sure that that's kind of the direction we're going from there. And I did not hear horse trails on that park, Commissioner Bragg. How did you? I mean,
Now that you said something,
Even though we've rode horses
late.
across,
It
I've
is.
ridden horses all over that area.
yes. So
In the
that's
back.
something I think that we should reconsider.
Oh, I would go along with that.
Yeah.
No.
But no, I appreciate it, and it does look like an exciting project. I obviously just want to make sure that we're doing it responsibly and in a way that is going to be great for the community. Thanks.
yeah, and I appreciate you stepping
you.
up there. Thank you
Yes.
very much.
Do I have anyone else out here that would like to speak on this topic? If so, come forward at this time. Go ahead, Zach. You could. Does anyone have any questions for Zach, our town manager of Franklinton?
Zach, are you keeping the house?
What's that? Yes, absolutely.
All right.
That was from day one.
Okay.
Talking with the
Yeah.
Triple B project, that was definitely a priority. I mean, it's a beautiful home site there, so that's where we wanted that to be part of that park area because it really plays well to the pond and the beautiful historic homes. So we're fully committed to keeping the house. I think that's a key part of this project. So, I'm all about the preservation of it and whatever we can do. If we can land grants to renovate it, that's definitely our intention to do so and to have a space that's a community gathering space that can utilize that pond. We'll have walking trails out there. So very excited to see all that come to fruition. To address some of the pieces with the transportation, we have our comprehensive transportation plan for the town. This is a key component of that plan. Early on in this project, we met with NCDOT, Campo, NCDOT Rail Division, and we talked about this crossing of the rail corridor. We feel like this location of the bypass is a really good fit. They have to replace the rail bridge that goes over Cedar Creek at that location. And the hope is that the bypass will be able to go underneath that bridge. So there's, depending on how that project accelerates and moves, there may be some opportunities that's paid for with federal dollars when they do that project. And then on the other side, we're having projects that are dedicating right-of-way. We just approved one off of Lane Store Road, and they dedicated the necessary right-of-way for the future bypass to that section. So everything we're doing transportation-wise is geared towards connecting this bypass and getting it from Lane Store Road out to US 1. In addition to that, Campo also put $100,000 towards studying the connection of the southern bypass to US 1. So they've made that commitment as well. Trying to think if there's any other questions that have popped up that I could answer, but I'd be happy to do so.
No other questions?
I think so.
Zach and I have become one working on this project.
Yes, I just want to thank
Well, you're
Chairman
welcome.
Bragg and the county commissioners. I've talked to all y'all at some point or another about this project. We're really excited. This is transformational for not just Franklinton, but for Franklin County. And I think this is development done right. You know, this is over a 15-year period. It's all planned out as one project as opposed to doing 50 lots here and 50 lots there. So we're really excited about a project that puts it all together, and it has the job creation components. It brings the residents in. It has mixed use, and it also has the park space. So we're really excited to see it hopefully move forward, and we appreciate the support from the county commissioners and the partnership on the project. So, thank you.
All right. Is there anyone else that'd like to speak? If not, we will close the public hearing. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
And- okay, we have a motion and a second. All approved, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. At this time, I will entertain a motion to authorize the county manager to sign all relative documents with the utility attorney that we need to approve this project.
I'll make a motion, we approve the action requested.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone oppose? If not, the motion carries. Okay. Congratulations.